Okay, so our first speaker to open the program, we have Jean-Michel Rouylou, and Jean-Michel is head of enterprise and broadband at ST Engineering iDirect, with a focus on multiple sectors, and he's pretty knowledgeable about just about all of them. Now, previously, Jean-Michel spent 3 years at ITC Global as the executive VP for the maritime market, establishing a maritime KU band network. He also spent 2 decades at Schlumberger in various roles, including head of VSAT services in Aberdeen. So, Jean-Michel, please take the floor.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for the nice introduction, and thank you for setting up this another connected oil field. I attended some of them. I participated, I think, the last one that you had in Aberdeen. So it's been around for a long time, and I'm very pleased to be able to participate each time you set up a new one. So as Paul mentioned, the connectivity or the connected oil field has been around for a long, long time. And the reason for that is that the challenge hasn't changed so much. It's just getting a little bit more complex, involve more and more machine, more and more processes that were not even dreamed of 20 years ago. But basically, you see process automation, you see safety, still very key component, security that goes hand to hand with safety, proactive asset maintenance, and troubleshooting. So something that was not done, that was done years ago, but not maybe as efficiently as it's done today. There has always been unmanned sites, so managing and controlling and monitoring those sites has always been an important challenge for the oil industry. Crew welfare, I think this one is getting even more and more important because the oil industry as a lot of industry around the world have a lot of challenge hiring people, and because the oil industry operates in a very difficult area, the capability of providing the crew with connectivity to the family, to the loved one, and to the social media is more and more critical. But we also have the increased needs for remote control and automation. Now, in all fairness, this has been more slowed down by regulation than by technology. Okay, regulators tend to be a little bit concerned when somebody said, "Oh, I'm going to drill automatically or from remote distance." So it's something that has always been kind of the technology has been there for a long time. The regulation we're not always following, but cloud access is getting more and more important, and for capability of accessing all the drilling and production data almost real time, and capability to adjust the drilling program based on those information and use AI environments to get and best the information is getting more and more important, and also access to human resources. But I think all of that kind of shows that the challenge, though, are slightly different, but they're still the key one are still the same one that they were 20 years ago. So what is common to all those challenges? And I think what is common is the connectivity. Connectivity, if you want to do remote control, you want to do crew welfare, you have to bring the data to the location where your operations are located. And clearly, you cannot do that without connectivity. Connectivity can be, as Paul mentioned, a fiber optic, can be a microwave, but in the vast majority of the case, it's satellite, because satellite offer the flexibility, the easy to deploy, the low capex system, and very high reliability that comes with the inherent technology of this satellite transmission. And it's also extremely flexible. It can go from very, very high speed, and we see that in IC Engineering iDirect, we have modem that can do very high speed. But if you have been on a cruise ship, you will also notice that all satellite connectivity is bringing us a very high volume. But it can also do low speed, or it could do on-demand speed. So it's really one of the most flexible technology that is available to the industry today. So that's why one of the first users of VSAT, in fact, has been the oil and gas industry, either to connect a remote platform, to connect a truck running around the country to run logs, So it's something that is not new to the industry, but I think what is important is to see that this industry has also kind of evolved in the past few years. You may have noticed that it's going through a dramatic change, and I use dramatic purposely because it is really dramatically changing. It was kind of an environment that was fairly stable, not always very challenged, until somebody decided to challenge all stuff and kind of change the room. So what what is the things that what are the use case that you will find in a connected oil field? So you have the need for high-speed access to offshore and land drilling. You have the need to create a secure common telecom network. So what you don't want, and you don't see, in fact, is that you don't want the 6 or 7 contractors that are operating on the same rig having their own network. That is not cost effective. That's not necessarily very secure, and so you see more and more the capability of sharing a secure common telecom network, which has to be flexible. What I mean by flexible, in not so long ago, when an oil field mainly a drilling ship company like a Transocean or Diamond Offshore would purchase a visa services, the supplier will tell them, okay, you buy that, you pay that per month. And then forgetting that sometimes the rig is stacked. Sometimes the industry is going down to a down cycle. And so you end up with customer paying for something they don't use. That is changing. This is more and more flexible. Service provider has realized that we have to follow the industry, and that's what they are doing. And so now you have a clause in your contract that you are stacking the rig, then you will get a lower pay rate, maybe just the rental of the satellite dish. So it's also that's why the industry is really adapting to what the customer, the oil and gas industry needs. It's also something to maximize the existing satcom equipment. We know it's difficult to change an antenna on a rig. It's difficult to change an antenna on a boat. So we want to make sure that whatever technology you need is available with the technology you already have on board. We just make improvement on the modem, improvement on the hub, not necessarily on the antenna itself. On the production side, you are more concerned by the reliability of the network, and also because you have more and more automation, more and more remote control. So you want this network to be extremely reliable. You want very high availability for monitoring and mailing site, and you may need some kind of very high bandwidth and at a cost-effective way. In the sense that the good news is that with the new developments of very high throughput satellite, the extremely high throughput satellite as well, they don't call them like that, but the number of beams that those new satellite has is just incredible. Software-defined satellite. You see a decrease in the cost of the bandwidth. It's dramatic. It's also very, very important. And then also, the same technology can be used to carry IoT data, SCADA data, and all the information that the corporate infrastructure may need. So on the same link, you can collect the data from a production site, realize that there is a problem, and turn a 4K video link to see what exactly is going on. So that's the kind of flexibility that this technology is bringing. On the transformation side, it's more related about the IoT control, the videos as well, and the cost effective. And on the distribution side, we all know that distribution is not exactly where most of the money is made in oil and gas. So you want to have a flexible network that can do a lot of things, but that is very cost effective. On top of that, it's usually need to handle thousands of locations. So the cost of the terminal is very critical. So as you see, the oil and gas industry is very interesting for the service provider because it covers a very wide range of application and use case. And that's why the dynamic in this market is so high. And that's why service providers are making a lot of effort to provide you with the best services. So what are the key benefits? I just wanted to put a bullet point list, but I'm not going to tell you what digitalization is going for you. I'm just saying that what we, as a manufacturer of telecom equipment, as a service provider experience that I have, we understand what that digitalization is bringing you. So it's supposed to bring you increase of time, reduce your service and maintenance costs, reduce human intervention, so as a result, reduce a little bit of your headcount, faster detection of pipeline leaks, meaning improvement in security and safety for the environment. It's also device optimization, and for all of that, you need to collect the data. And today it's called IoT. In the past, you had other name, but basically what it is, it makes sure that all the assets that you have in the field as a way to communicate with some central location and tell them what's going on. It could be the temperature, the speed of the pump, and whatever it is. It's all the information that need to be collected and analyzed in the central location. There's more and more central location being the cloud. So one of the things that I've been hearing and talking, and it's been around for a long time, and I was in Houston last May, is what we call digital twin. This is not something that is specific to the oil industry. It's been used in many locations. It's mainly used in the manufacturing environments. And one of the things that, but a lot of people associate digital twin to a very nice 3D model. That's not necessarily the case. I mean, you will need a digital twin, get all the data you can collect from IoT sensor, from, for example, in the safety QHSE environments, from all the incident report that you have, collect them into a central place, digitalize all of them, use an AI to start analyzing trends and identifying problems. And when you have all those information, send back this information to the field, to the operation center to tell them, hey guys, there is a potential problems in this area. Please look at this pump, look at these generators. We noticed there is maybe a leak in the pipe system. So all of this is kind of enhanced by the capability of doing it through a digital twin, because then through that model, you can simulate based on the data you are collecting, you can run a simulation and see what's going on, what's going to happen in the future based on that. The other big thing, improvement that AI is going to bring, and then this digital twin is going to bring, is that we can maybe achieve what we've been also talking for a long time, which is called the connected workforce, the capability of helping the people on board to have a more efficient way of working and a safer way as well of working, making sure that some of the human error that happening from time to time are either prevented or identified in the process of happening before it actually happens. So that's also something that is getting more and more. And I'm sure Göran will talk about that, but it's also because of technology. When we were starting talking connected workforce, we were talking about Wi-Fi, we're talking about a lot of things, but that was not necessarily bringing the low latency that is needed, the efficiency or the reliability. Thanks to 5G and private 5G network, now this is going to be feasible. And now the challenge will be safety issue on the radio frequency that is being used, but this has been addressed in Wi-Fi, so that should be easily addressed in cellular network as well. So what is ST Engineering contribution to all those connected needs? First of all, as I said, one of the key drivers is the cost. Either the cost of the bandwidth, the cost of the equipment, the scalability of the equipment, so meaning that once you start small and you want to grow, you don't need to replace the hardware or the equipment offshore, because that's a costly exercise. So we have developed a new wave. I mean, it's not a new waveform nowadays. It was new when we first released it 2 years ago, but it's an MXDMA MRC, which is one of the most efficient return channel that waveform that has been developed by the industry. We also have the capability of a SCPC modem that can move into a shared environment so for example, once you are in operation, you may want to have an SCPC link to guarantee the most efficient and the fastest link to the rig. But once the rig is on transit, you don't need necessarily an SCPC link. So we switch to a shared environment and reduce the cost of the link during the transit time. It's also the capability, we have an IoT solution that helps you collect data and transmit it across satellite. And last, this is our parent company, ST Engineering in Singapore, has developed a 5G in a box that is, sorry, Viren, but it's based on Nokia, but I know you work all happily together in the cellular environments, not like in the satellite. And you have it's a Nokia-based 5G network that is fairly easy to deploy, and it's fully ruggedized, meaning that it can be very easily deployed in a very harsh environments that characterize the oil and gas industry. I'm going to go fairly fast here just to give you the latest name and buzz and keyword that we use. So we have a new modem called the MDM3315. We have a very high performance modem, the MDM5010, that can go up to 1.6 gigabytes. So on a CPC mode. So I'm pretty sure it's more than the bandwidth you actually need, but it was initially developed for the cruise industry. But we know that the more bandwidth you throw at people, the more they need. So here it is, ready for you to use it if you need it. And we also have a very flexible IoT solution with a flat panel antenna, easy to install, that doesn't need the required technician to be installed, that is used for low bandwidth solution, and then so small form factors, very easy to install, can be easily deployed over along a pipeline. It's been used in many industries, used in transportation, in farming, in fishery. So it's also something you may want to think about when you are looking at an IoT solution. There is more than just S-band solution around here. It's a pure KUK. So one of the characteristics of ST Engineering iDirect is that almost every single service provider to the oil and gas industry use our technology. Okay, so we are being the dominant player in this market, either through service providers like ITC, like Marlink, or through global service satellite operators like Intelsat, Eutelsat, and Inmarsat as well. So we have a very high speed and very reliable network, corporate network. We have a very robust QoS solution that make it very flexible and very easy for you to differentiate traffic and make sure you have the best efficiency and performances for the application you need. It's lowest OPEX. That's a marketing slide. It's a low OPEX. It's not exactly necessarily the lowest, but it's very efficient waveform technology. It has more and more easy integration, and most of our customers now, especially Marlink, have developed a hybrid solution that will include a geo satellite, a LEO satellite, and maybe a fiber optic connectivity, a cellular connectivity, and provide a fully integrated solution to the customer. And all being said, the fixed satellite is still very easy to deploy. It's not that easy to deploy on an offshore platform, I understand that, but it's something that nevertheless is still a lot faster than running or installing a fiber optic network. And most importantly, and that's what I was saying earlier about protecting your investment, it will include, or it does include, forward compatibility, sorry, to the future MEO LEO constellation, and also 5G. We have made taken the commitment that we will support 5G in our future generation of infrastructure. So as you see, ST Engineering iDirect is highly placed and positioned to help you through all the partners that we have that has been serving this industry for many years. And we know that if there is one area, when there is plenty of area where satellite is used, and it's in most cases, I'm not going to be hard here, but it's a lot of the time it's a nice to have. In your industry, it's a need to have. You have to have this connectivity, otherwise you just cannot do your work. So a cruise ship that doesn't have a high-speed internet, they can still cruise. Okay, they will have 5,000 unhappy customers on board, but that doesn't jeopardize their business. In your case, you don't have a VSAT connectivity on your rig, and you may not be able to drill anymore. So we understand that, and that's why if you need a solution that is at the level of expectation and reliability that you require, ST Engineering iDirect has been around for many years and will be around for even more years. Based on that, I think you would take the question later, Paul, isn't it? You're on mute for the first time.
Sorry about that.
It's your story, Paul. Sorry.
I do it at least once every time we do these things.
Yeah.
No, actually, I would like to get some questions to you now because there's some
Okay.
good stuff going on in the chat box. Bob Miltenberger, CEO of New Shore Networks, is asking, can you talk more about 5G in a box? Is that an ST engineering product? Who can I follow up with? I'm glad he asked that because I'm actually quite interested to know myself. So if you wouldn't mind elaborating on that, I'll give you Bob's details later anyway to follow
Yeah.
up.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. You can get in touch with me, and I will put you in touch with the people looking after that. It's an ST engineering product. It's not an iDirect product, but I thought it was important to the industry to mention that into the industry. It's a self-deploy or self-install 5G system that is in a ruggedized environment, so you can really run it almost anywhere you want with very high temperature or very low temperature. It is in its initial version, base version, it can handle 1,000 users, and it comes with one radio and can be extended up to 6 radio, I think, or 5 radio. So it's really a private network. It's not meant to handle thousands or hundreds of thousands of users, but it could be easily deployed on an FPSO, for example, and provide 5G, private 5G, which is. But Björn will talk more about the benefits of 5G here and private network, but it provides a secure, highly controlled environments. While Wi-Fi, anybody can almost log into if they have good hacking skills, even if you have a good password and everything. On a private 5G, usually you need a SIM card being electronic or being real, so that's limit the number of people that can actually access your infrastructure.
Okay. There's a couple of questions coming also from this second terminal that I've always got 3 or 4 terminals I'm working from. You were talking about latency in there.
Yeah.
Now, from Speedcast, how will Leo transform the digital oil field? And I'm going to couple that with another question from Bernardo Schneiderman from he's the president of Telematics Business Consultants. He's asking how Starlink is impacting the offshore digital business. So I think we can put those 2 questions together.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I was at OTC, which is the Offshore Technology Conference in Houston. It's held once a year. That's where all the latest technology in the oil and gas, not specifically connection, but all the technology of the oil and gas are being deployed and displayed and explained. So I met a lot of people there. And I would say that the most common word that I heard during all those week-long conferences has been Starlink. And I was kind of surprised because, as I said, 20 years in Schlumberger, 30 years in the VSAT industry, I have known for years that one of the key requirements for oil and gas is reliability. They don't want 87% reliability. They want 99.95, 99.99. And when you go to Starlink, I guarantee you, they will never write on any software or any terms and conditions, any contract that they will give you 99.95 or 99, not even 90%. They said it's best effort. If it's there, it works. If it doesn't there, it's not working, it's not our fault. So I was surprised to see that people still look into it. And I think because they expect to mitigate that with other solutions like SD-WAN. They will keep the geo and put a Starlink together. And the key driver for that, and then the driver is not necessarily coming from IT department. The IT department are kind of trying to control the flow, but it's coming from the end user. I had example. I mean, entrepreneurial spirits are everywhere. And that a guy in Texas brought his Starlink terminal on an offshore rig. I don't know. I will not name the company, but bring his own personal Starlink terminal on an offshore rig, put it up, I don't know how, and start selling coupon to his colleague for them to access the internet. So it didn't last very long, as you can imagine, but that's kind of challenge that the IT management is concerned. So as far as the crew welfare, I can see that crew welfare is going to migrate to Starlink fairly quickly, even in the oil and gas industry. Regarding the question about low latency, I had a meeting with the CIO of Schlumberger as well in last May. And one of the things he said that today, I mean, yes, we like the low latency, we like all the things, but our applications are not yet designed for this kind of latency because we didn't expect it. So our applications are still not fully using what low latency could do. But in 1 or 2 years, our R&D people, our software development people are going to realize that there is this capability and now start developing applications that will take a better use of this low latency environment. So, and then the good news for the oil and gas industry that at this time, there will be more providers. There will be Kuiper, most likely Kuiper. There will be OneWeb. So now, and because their antennas are very small compared to a very large 1.8 or 2.4 meter KU C-band antenna with the radome, you will be able to deploy one antenna of each of these suppliers for a very attractive price, put an SD-WAN box behind, and there you go. You have a fairly reliable environment for the fraction of the cost. So yes, it's affecting our industry quite dramatically.
Okay, you've really started something here with this 5G in a box. I've had to put your email up to a few people. If you need to contact Jean-Michel, you can and you can't find his contact details, you can always contact me. But I've just replied to Eran Shapiro from Gilat, who was asking for your email address, so you can refer to that on the chat box. Hang on, just 1 second. There was. All right. In the meantime, sorry, you mentioned digital twin, and a couple of events ago, we had a program called the IoT Connection, and in that we had a focus on the manufacturing industry, which is obviously the biggest IoT application or use case out there. And we had Brian Broyhan, Senior Manufacturing Engineer for Advanced Technology from General Motors, speaking about the digital twin and the industrial metaverse. And it's the first mention I'd ever heard of digital twin. And I don't really want to talk too much about it now because I'm not really sure I'm fully understand it myself at this point. But anybody that is interested for more knowledge on that can always refer to our website and dig into that presentation because we always post the presentations after anyway. Okay, right, let's move on. Jean-Michel, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. I will stay online, so if there is more question coming down the line, I will try to respond to them online.
No, absolutely, but there's a lot of interest in what you're talking about, so you might want to jump on the chat box. And anyway, bear with me 1 second, please.